Excuse me.
I tell people that same reason they say because otherwise you're going to be sad.
You never and they don't
I think that was Chris Spencer last week.
It took me an entire day to get done. Entire day. Just to call, get somebody who actually needs to get done. Nobody was answering the
This on? Yep. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Auburn Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, located on occupied ancestral land of the Muskogee Nation and housed in a building constructed by free, formerly enslaved African Americans. My name is Jerry McCreary, and I will be your service associate today. We welcome you. We know you come here for different reasons: to find community, to seek your spiritual and personal truths, to question, to nurture your heart and soul, and to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps find the answers to some of your big questions. We welcome you. We know you come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, and different backgrounds. We hope you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. We hope you will find ways to provide outreach to others of our congregation, the local community, and in our world community. I call your attention to the announcements that are printed on the back of the order of service. Please read these for important information about fellowship life. Spoken announcements will be heard at the end of this hour. There are also some very interesting activities listed on page 3 of your order of service. On behalf of the members of the fellowship, I extend a special welcome to all visitors who are joining us for the first time, and to those of you who still feel like visitors. If you have not already done so, please fill out our visitor book at the front of near the greeters, or digitally by visiting auuf.org/visitor. You may also contact our minister, Reverend Chris Rothbauer, at minister@auuf.org with any questions or concerns that you might have. As we prepare for the service this morning, please remember to turn your phone and other electronic devices to silent. Let us move into the service, willing to be authentic with each other and honest within ourselves and open to connections in all forms.
Our opening words this morning are from the Reverend Erica Hewitt. Let us remember and celebrate that each of our bodies was woven in the depths of mystery, cells multiplying, tissue taking form, organ taking up their function, all under the silky cover of skin. Let us gather in reverence for the gift of these bodies, whatever their ages, their shapes, their abilities, and may we know them to be channels of the world coming alive through us. These bodies, these blessings, bring the world to life through seeing, taste, hearing, scent, and touch. May we bring to our intricately woven bodies a sense of sacred caretaking. In doing so, let us also be grateful for the embrace of that which is holy, the presence that creates and sustains life, the mystery that knit together each of our bodies, and the force of love that celebrates our desires.
We light our chalice this morning with these words from Eric Walker Wickstrom. Here today, in this place, and with this people, may we listen so that we may hear. May we hear so that we may feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May we light this chalice light our way. As is our tradition, we also light a candle in solidarity with those families and individuals separated and suffering at our southern border. We light our peace candle this week for the Mexican drug wars, low-intensity conflict between the Mexican government and various drug trafficking syndicates. When the Mexican military began to intervene in 2006, the government's main objective was to reduce drug-related violence. Since then, 69,000 people have been killed in fighting in Mexico since 2006. In 2022, 7,821 were killed in fighting, and 734 people have already been killed in 2023. I invite you to rise in body and spirit as are willing and able, and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 1003 in the Teal hymnal.
Choir, if you would, please surround the congregation to give them moral and vocal support. The way this goes, you repeat each line once. And we're not going to do it as a round, we'll just sing it through one time. But if you would, please. Ready?
One of the ways we proclaim the worth and caring of our community is by sharing our joys, concerns, and milestones. If you are joining us virtually, we invite you to type your joy, concern, or milestone in the YouTube chat box during the music meditation. For unspoken joys and concerns and milestones, we invite you in person one at a time to drop a pebble into our communal bowl during the music meditation. Spoken joys and concerns will be invited following the music. I invite you, if you have a spoken joy, concern, or milestone, to come forward one at a time and briefly share it with a microphone. To help maintain social distancing, please don't line up, but come forward after the last person has left the microphone. Is it on?
Hello? No. Thanks, Rob. Hi, I'm Lisa, and I have been on somewhat of a professional journey lately. About a year ago, I started to transition out of my research role at Auburn, and it's been a long year, but this last week I accepted a new position at a Baltimore-based company. It's a remote position, so you're not going to get rid of us. But I am super excited to start this new chapter of my career, and I take my first trip up in a couple of weeks to meet everyone. So if you know anything about Baltimore, please tell me, because I've never been. And yeah, here's to, I guess, starting that new adventure.
I'm Carter. I'm excited for Lisa. I'm also had the joy of greeting this morning and got to see lots of new visiting faces, so that's exciting. And lastly, Lisa got me this lovely pen that reads, "It's my birthday!"
It's nice to be only 25.
Hello, y'all. Yesterday we had an opportunity to meet at Sanford Courts in Opelika again for a Martin Luther King Beloved Community occasion, during which I spoke on the fierce urgency of now. We got a lot of things said that need to be said, and among other things, I got an award, another one. And please remember everybody involved in your prayers, particularly the people at Sanford Courts and those concerned about, public safety around here with the law enforcement situation and all that. Thank you.
We have one submitted joy concern from Marcia Rossi and Larry Moore. They are joyful at arriving home last night from their trip to Baltimore to remove her brain tumor.
Call
What?
Tell Lisa to call them.
Yeah, to remove her brain tumor. They are grateful for this loving community and to be home after a successful operation. May all the joys, concerns, and milestones of our community, those spoken aloud and those held in silence, be received in the care and concern of all present. Our moment of all ages is led today by our coordinator of religious exploration, Angela Farmer.
Sorry, I'm sending a little ride. Anyone who would like to come with me here. Thank you. Yeah. Owen's here. We have some new kids here. Max and what's the little one's name? What's her name? Annabelle. Yeah, we're going to hear a story. Look, the pictures are going to be up here. There you go. Do you want to look up here at the pictures? You can come closer. It's okay. This is my body. Who remembers the Mercer Mayer Little Critters stories fondly? Oh. So I picked one to share today. He does all kinds of stuff. This is my body. It has different parts and they all work together. This is my fur. It keeps me warm, especially in the wintertime. When my fur gets too long, my mom takes me to the barber for a fur cut. If I sit really still, I get a special treat. These are my eyes. They help me see. I use them to see a little green worm, to see a big tree, to see my dad when he comes home from work. Hi, Dad. Sometimes I have to use my eyes to watch my little brother. I don't like to use them for that, though. These are my ears. They help me to hear. I can hear when my dog barks. That means someone's here. His friend came over to play. I can also hear when my mom asks me to clean my room. Then I wish I didn't hear so well. This is my nose. It helps me to smell. I can smell Mom's perfume. I can smell my shampoo. I can smell when my dog's been playing with a skunk. Oh. This is my mouth. I use it to eat and to talk. Dad says I talk all the time. I guess I have a lot to say. These are my teeth. It just has like a top one and a bottom one. They help me to chew things I like, and sometimes things I don't like. I brush my teeth every night to keep them clean. Foam around his mouth. This is my tummy. This is where the food goes after I eat. Sometimes if I eat too much sweet stuff, I get a tummy ache. Same. That's why Mom won't let me eat a whole bag of cookies. These are my arms and my hands. I use them all the time. They help me turn cartwheels, to steer my bike, and to turn the pages of a book. When I lasso my dinosaur, they help me tie him up. They help me do just about everything, especially to take my toys back from my sister. These are my elbows. I use them to prop up my head when I'm sleepy. These are my legs and feet. I use them to walk and climb. When my sister is bothering me, I use my legs and feet to run away from her. These are my knees. They help my legs bend. When I fall down, my knees always get banged up. All the parts of my body work together, so I can do anything I want. Everyone's body looks different, but I think that's what makes us all special. And we are very lucky to have bodies that look like that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in RE. Who wants to go outside and play?
May your words bring truth into the world. May your hearts know love and your hands do justice as you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace. As you go your way in peace.
Beautiful.
Please join me in the spirit of contemplation in whatever way feels right with these words from Sam Trumbore. Let us turn inward now. Feel the rhythm of your breath, in and out, in and out. Find the peace of just being with the flow of breath, letting go of yesterday and tomorrow. Feel the restorative power of the peace of this moment, a peace large enough to open to the concerns and sorrows that trouble us, a stillness quiet enough to respond to the joys and celebrations that enliven us. There is safety here in the rhythm of the breath. The ebb and flow of life is enacted with each one. taking in oxygen sustenance, letting go of carbon dioxide waste, taking in the fullness of experience, letting go of the residue that wants to cling to us. Cultivate inner peace and inner safety in this sanctuary, dedicated to cultivating the spirit of life, dedicated to being a beacon of love for all beings. Blessed be.
The light of our chalice would soon flicker and die without the oil that nourishes its flame. And just as the flame cannot burn without oil, this religious community cannot survive without the financial as well as personal support of its members and friends. The oil that keeps the flame of our liberal religious faith alive and fuels our shared mission and ministry of this fellowship. Let us now give freely and generously an offering to sustain and strengthen our shared religious community, a community of memory, hope, faith, and love. For we are now the keepers of its flame that burns for justice, the dream of a beloved community, the vision of a world made whole. To make a donation online via PayPal, please visit auu.org/donate. Please indicate in the notes whether your donation is for your pledge or for the offering. If you are writing a check, please make your check payable to AUUF and a note on the memo line about whether it is for the offering or your pledge, and drop it in the offering bowl or mail it to P.O. 669, Auburn, Alabama 36831. The offering will now be greatly received. This is a reading from Edmund M. McMahon and Peter A. Campbell. For years, we closed all of our workshops with the following quote from Dr. Eugene Brendan's book, Focusing. Your physically felt body is part of a gigantic system of here and other places, now and other times, you and other people, in fact, the whole universe. This sense of being bodily alive in the vast system of the body is felt from the inside. In the meantime, an entirely new identity waiting to be born from inside your body. Today, there is a tangible hunger for such experience arising with greater frequency, both from individuals and within entire communities. It is a kind of longing for something more. Something is missing. Whenever faith, prayer, ritual, and theology are open to include what our bodies know and not solely what our minds can think, we immediately face a radical shift in perspective and a different starting point. We are called beyond merely considering our bodies as objects and are invited to begin from a more visceral starting point, our bodies as they are felt from inside. Attention shifts away from objective rational analysis, moving into a visceral body self for our uniquely personal connecting, linking, relating, and interacting. Developing this new habit and perspective will take time. It involves a new way of seeing, listening, and being on the inside of our body's knowing.
So as many of you know, one of my majors as an undergraduate was in philosophy. And I managed to do that a little bit unorthodox. You see, I managed to very nearly get through a Bachelor of Arts degree in philosophy without ever having read René Descartes. It's like heretical in philosophical circles nowadays. But come my 5th year of college, when I was getting ready to graduate, I had a little bit of extra time that semester because I'd taken all of my required classes. And well, one of the professors, who I had never personally had but knew very well, suggested I come sit in on his modern philosophy course. You should not be able to graduate from college with a philosophy degree without having read Descartes, he told me. And so I did. Let me tell you that Descartes' not all bad. I think there's a reason he's called the father of modern philosophy. It is through Descartes that modern philosophy really emerged as a field of rational inquiry, moving beyond mere church doctrine and things asserted from Scripture into what could logically be proven. And yet beyond that, you won't find a lot of strict Cartesians today. Among Descartes' many problematic statements, he thought animals didn't have emotions and were simply robots. He thought that God could just be proven because what else could have made everything? And he was the one who came up with the idea that mind and body are two different substances. Now, it's this latter one that I focus on today. Because you see, Descartes started with the famous dictum, I think, therefore I am. He believed that because he could have a thought, that must mean his mind is something separate from his body. I don't, to this day, know why that has to be the case. But Descartes proposing this created a revolution in human thought. Now, certainly Descartes was not the first one who thought that the body was something inferior to the mind. But Descartes' thought really influenced centuries worth of philosophers and theologians to believe that the body was something less than. Reflecting on this nowadays, it's not a terribly surprising thing for me to think about. You see, when I think about how I was raised in the church, I certainly think that we were deep Cartesians, whether we would admit it or not. We would have said Descartes was wrong on science, but not on the body. Indeed, my minister frequently quoted the letter from Paul to the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians 6:19, where he says, "What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which you have of God, and ye are not your own?" And now, while for many that might sound like the body is something to be respected and upheld, in the church that I grew up in, that verse was frequently used to condemn. That people who drank or smoked or put any drugs, and in some cases even caffeine, sorry, coffee hour, into their body, were sinful. Indeed, the body as the temple of the Holy Ghost, rather than becoming an affirmation of who we are, became a condemnation. A reminder that this life is just a temporary one. That it really doesn't matter what happens to this body because I'm only in it for somewhere between 60 to 90 years at best. And I'm well aware that there are people in this room that have surpassed that 90 years. It was an internalized attitude among many in my circle. In fact, from a very young age, I learned to not listen to my body. One early book that I read suggested that the body was something to be tamed. The same as a circus performer would tame a lion or a bear. My taming of my body became so bad that I had no idea that I had chronic acid reflux that was eating at my esophagus until I literally couldn't swallow anymore. It caused me for years to not be able to feel much of anything. I now realize that I learned to mimic emotions because I learned what others expected me to feel in that moment. And indeed, I'm not sure I was treating my body as the temple of anything sacred. It's not a surprising thing for me. In Western culture, bodies tend to be constantly criticized. My body is too black. My body is too feminine. My body is too masculine. My body is too old, too young, too queer, too trans, too disabled, too fat, too skinny. For many, I think that this path of taming our bodies has become the norm. I've mentioned it several times this year, and I'm going to keep mentioning it, that the gyms and fitness centers hope that you'll buy into this because they want you to buy a membership right now while they're on sale that you'll forget about by April. body no longer is something sacred. Indeed, for me, what was important was what was happening in my mind. And the lengths that many would go to in modern philosophy to deny that the mind is part of the body were simply amazing to me. And yet, without your body, none of you would be here. Next time you talk to one of our greeters, ask them when was the last time they had a disembodied mind come in to see the service. The activist Sonia Renee Taylor calls this body terrorism. She says that in this system, some bodies are seen as inherently superior to others. What body you have determines an informal caste system of where you belong in the world. And advertisers, social scientists, and politicians depend on you believing that this narrative is fact. And indeed, some people learn to hate their bodies so much that they become overwhelmed with addiction, alcoholism, drug abuse, things that in moderation aren't always bad, but are applied towards the body in a way because people learn to hate themselves so much. And yet I keep going back to that scripture from the Christian's Bible, because the Christians weren't the only ones who believed that the body was the temple of the sacred. Indeed, in Islam, the human body was created by God in the perfect shape and must be given dignity and respect. In Judaism, the human body is the vessel for a holy human life. And Buddhism places great emphasis on the body, not only to show an ephemeral or impure nature, but also as the privileged place where presence takes place. Think about this for a second. As much as I would have liked to have denied that my body played any place in the person that I am, it was the only place that my mind got data to understand the world. I'm constantly amazed how some people who will call themselves humanists or atheists will, in the next sentence, talk about their mind as if it's a disconnected thing, and as if it receives psychic visions from somewhere of the way that the world is. We live in a world where, despite the fact that your body is the most important thing that you have, it's really, really easy to forget that. It wasn't always so. And I think in the words of Sonia Renee Taylor, we need to recover the idea that you are not just your thoughts. You are your thoughts, but you are not just your thoughts. I want to propose this morning a paradigm called biospirituality. The idea is that the spiritual is the biological. Edward McMahon and Peter Campbell, who you heard in our reading this morning, once said that it is the human body which provides our most grounded spiritual link, both to the details of daily living as well as to the mystery of an evolving universe. So, McMahon and Campbell believe that by deepening our relationship with our body, we can simultaneously deepen our relationship with each other and with the larger world. McMahon and Campbell were Catholic priests who doubled as psychologists, which just sounds like a whole lot of grad school to me. So they believed that through this biospirituality, we're able to recover a sense of God. But in Unitarian Universalist terms, I think that we can recover our sense of what is sacred by listening to our bodies, which are constantly sending us signals of what we need. When we don't do this, it can end up being disastrous. Calvin and I last night went to Birmingham to see the band Big Thief play live in concert. It was a standing room only venue, and Calvin kept looking at me in disbelief every time they had to pull someone out of the standing room who had collapsed because they weren't listening to their body. Mind you, this was a venue providing free water, so there was absolutely no excuse for it. But we learn to not listen to our bodies until we completely collapse to the floor. McMahon and Campbell said that too often we look upon spirituality as one more thing we need to do in a head-brain way, rather than through an integral inner journey, arriving through a body knowing, which can open us up to the entire universe of human experiencing. I'm reminded of two experiences I had last year. As many of you knew, last March I took a trip to Peru and hiked to the top of Huayna Picchu, the mountain overlooking Machu Picchu. It's a very arduous and stressful hike. I don't recommend it for the faint of heart or if your body can't take it. And as I was walking up, I couldn't help but notice that this man was walking down the opposite side of me. Now, people hike to the top of Huayna Picchu because it rewards the persistent person with some of the most beautiful views in Peru. And yet here was this man walking down these ancient steps, talking on his cell phone. I'm not sure he was getting much of anything out of that other than a very good workout. And I thought to myself, what's even the point when he could have found much less arduous ways to stay in shape? By not being aware, I couldn't help but think that he was missing out on an experience. And I was very glad in that moment I wasn't getting good cell phone service. The other was when I went to Ghost Ranch in New Mexico this past November. It was to learn about how to do eco-spiritual direction. That is, how to bring nature into our spiritual practices. I was very surprised the second day when we woke up and we were told to go into these beautiful canyons that once inspired some of George O'Keeffe's most famous paintings, and just walk around and see what struck us. Turn off our cell phones Leave the books in our room. Bring a journal maybe, but nothing else. And yet, being alone in those canyons and fully aware of my surroundings, for a moment I was able to connect with what Georgia O'Keeffe and so many others have seen in that very special place. There's just a spirit there that reminded me of how little I am in a great big universe. Some of my fellow classmates even talked about having a conversation with a cactus or a little bird that was flying around. And now it's not that I think that the cactus was literally responding. But maybe in that moment, they and I were seeing things afresh for the first time. Things that so many people miss on a daily basis because they're excited to get out on the hike and get it over with. What if we could listen to what our bodies are telling us? Because in that moment, I was hearing the birds. I was sensing the cold wind on my skin, smelling the dirt around me and the humidity in the air, and seeing some of the most beautiful canyons I could. I was a little afraid to bring taste in there. You never know what you're going to find in the desert. But it was a reminder that our bodies are what connects us to what matters in our life and in the world. And we ignore it at our own peril. I must confess, some of you who have been doing spirit and practice the past few months know that I've spoken that body practices have not always been the thing that I've focused on most, and yet sometimes it's in those holes where we don't have a lot of experience where we can find the most growth. Some of you are much better at body practices than I am. And I suspect that there are some of you out there for whom you're like me, and mind practices came a lot easier. You're fortunate because there are so many opportunities. Before the service this morning, I heard a couple of you talking with excitement about how you're stretching yourselves to go to yoga on Tuesday nights here in the sanctuary. And I've heard others talk about doing other practices like Tai Chi and Qigong. Whatever it is, we need ways of reconnecting with our bodies. And maybe it starts with putting the cell phone away, turning it to airplane mode, and going out and just sitting and experiencing what our bodies are telling us about the here and now. McMahon and Campbell believed that we need to go in and figure out what our bodies are feeling. That we need to reconnect with those senses that we've lost. And this is what I want to propose, that we move towards a spirituality of the body, because our bodies can be inspirational. Simone de Beauvoir, the famous French existentialist philosopher, once said that to lose confidence in one's body is to lose confidence in oneself. If our bodies are temples of the sacred, what is your body telling you right now about whatever it is that you find sacred. If our bodies are temples of the sacred, then it doesn't mean that our bodies are just where the sinful things occur. It means that it's where everything happens. Because your body is what ultimately connects you to the larger universe. So go out and figure out what it is your body needs from you right now. And I've got a proposal. Let's make a peace treaty with our bodies. And maybe in the end, ultimately, we can create a world where this subjugation turns into an appreciation of all that makes us who we are. May it be so. I would like to invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 1053, in the Till hymnal, How Could Anyone?
Once again, choir, would you kind of spread yourselves around?
I think we can all agree that René Descartes was a very influential philosopher who believed what he proposed. Well, one day, René Descartes walks into a bar, orders a beer, sits down, drinks the beer. Waitress came over and said, "Would you like another?" He said, "I think not." Poof, he disappeared.
He forgot he's got to extinguish the chalice.
Okay. Well, little stage fright, okay? Anyway, please join me and extinguish our chalice. You will find the words in your order of service. We distinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together. And please be our guest after the service for coffee hour and snacks here in the sanctuary. There's an opportunity to chat with people about the service or the joke and just how the week went. All are welcome to join. If you are not signed up to our email list, please make sure to do so to receive updates about ways to connect. You can find information at auuf.org/subscribe.
Are there any announcements that need to be spoken aloud?
Any announcements? That's called a meltdown.
I know you think not.
Hi, I'm Laura. I like pulling up weeds and uprooting trees that don't belong, that are tiny things called privet, and other trees I can't identify, but I still don't want them growing where they're growing, which is all over the place. Anyway, I'm inviting anyone who likes pulling up weeds and trees and things like that to come help me on any Saturday in the spring before it gets hot. And if you're interested, come talk to me, and I'll give you the address where I will be hanging out probably most of the day. So that's what I want to share. And I'm also asking because lately I've been experiencing this really strange vertigo, and it's all new to me, and I don't like it, and maybe one day it'll get fixed, but I can still do yard work. It doesn't matter if you're tipping over.
I'm Sean. I have two announcements. One is I had a bike wreck and I'm fine. Second announcement is the Humanist meeting is meeting tonight at 5 o'clock. It's potluck. We're going to be discussing artificial intelligence. I'm anticipating we'll get into a serious discussion, but if not, then we might just talk about, ask ChatGPT to write jokes for us about Unitarians, which could be good. If it is potluck, and if you're new, then don't worry about bringing food or anything. There's always plenty of food. Yeah, so hope to see you.
Please join us for a song of benediction. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. I just let you know that next Sunday for second hour, we'll be discussing the Committee on Ministry, of which I'm a member, is discussing the proposals for the new mission statement and vision statement that we're coming up with we hope to replace the ones that we've had in the past, and we certainly welcome it. We're going to try to get everybody's input. The Committee on Ministry and some of the interested people will be meeting in back of the sanctuary after the service to make plans regarding next week. And of course, we welcome everybody's input. Thank you.
I'm Connie. I have these fruit spoons that I don't need, I don't want. I'm going to leave them over there with the food, and if anybody wants them, take them. Okay.
Those of you that know about the tumor sit-in, today is 994, but next Saturday will be the 1,000th day. So it'll be from 5 to 7. So if you're interested, come on down. And in case you still forget, Friday's my birthday and Saturday is the 1,000th day.
One more? Okay. Thank you, Chris. So I would be remiss in not reminding you of Tuesday's yoga. Thank you, Chris, for that. Oh, I mean, I need the videotape. I need him up front. Everything that we talk about, Chris talked about. It's that link of mind and body and the importance of it. And how we do that on Tuesday night with Lisa, our lovely instructor, Jan, and you, Jerry, thank you, and Laura, it's just special. And so we can slowly, methodically help you link up. And it is a challenge. And it's a hard-fought thing to do. But I believe in it wholeheartedly. At whatever level of, I don't even want to use the word body you are in. So please join us. Thank you so much. Thanks, Chris, for today. Very special.
Are there other announcements?
And this morning at 11:15 during second hour is the 5th session of the Spirit and Practice group, and we are coincidentally doing body practices today. I swear I did not plan that. But if you're interested in learning about body practices, come over to the Bush Center at 11:15, grab you a cup of coffee and come join us, and we'll be talking about how we can do body practices.
Hey y'all, I'm Billy and I'm VP of Finance this year. Giving y'all a heads up that our pledge drive is not far around the corner. And this coming Saturday, as well as the Saturday a week from then, we're going to be having our canvasser training parties. So look out for more info on that.
I'm Cindy, and I'm the chair of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. And I do have my cards with me. If anybody wants a nice hand quilted card, note card to send to anybody, just see me. I've got a box of them. I didn't get them put out, but just see me and you can just go through the box.
Please join us now for our Sun benediction.
Blessed is the path on which you travel. Blessed is the body that carries you upon it. Blessed is your heart that has heard the call. Blessed is your mind that discerns the way. Blessed is the gift that you will receive by giving. Truly blessed is the gift that you will become on the journey. May you go forth in peace. Amen. Blessed be and go in peace.
And blessed is that I can make all those kind of mistakes here and know that it's all taken in love.